We started with 76 players from all around the world, and after 5 days of action, it comes down to just 2. Katowice, are you ready? Up first, we have the best Protoss player in the world. He's looking to fulfill his dream of becoming a champion here in the Spodek Arena. While going up against him is the current reigning WCS Global Finals champion. He's on track to also become a world champion. Please welcome on stage, it is Classic and Rogue!
Rogue versus Classic here at the Intel Extreme Masters Grand Finals. Rogue just recently winning BlizzCon 2017. Classic here to take his crown.
This has been such an epic tournament. We've been here for about a week already. We've had 5 play days completed. This is the 6th, and coming down from over 70 players, these are the best 2 in the entire world.
This tournament truly unique as it is such a marathon. You have to be good at every matchup on every map. These are the 2 players who have managed to get this far. In this best of 7, we should expect every type of possible game. You have to mix up so many different strategies if you're going to come out on top when you have that many different techniques you have to prove.
There's no question about that. When you have 7 maps against the other guy that's the best in the world at this game, well, you have to have that range, and both of them have shown it. We've seen a lot of decisive play from Classic. He's been aggressive more often than not, but I guarantee you he can play those longer games. He can keep up in the macro that Rogue is so well known for.
Classic, a player who was very dominant a few years ago, has now brought a completely new style. He's very aggressive. He knows how to get in there, do the damage, oftentimes deceiving his opponent. Rogue, the greatest StarCraft 2 late game player in the world. This is going to be an incredible match. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make some noise. We're here in the Intel Extreme Masters Grand Finals. Introducing our first player in the bottom right, in the blue, make some noise for Rogue! And his opponent here in the upper left, make some noise for Classic!
Backwater, a great map to start out a best of 7 on. You can easily take 3 bases. It's definitely a map that can go into the late game, but at the same time, there's a lot of ways to play a sneaky game, dropping your units all over the place, sneaking in from angles that your opponent doesn't expect. Anything could happen here in game number 1.
We already see Classic coming out now with a probe scout, trying to get an idea of whether or not Rogue is going to do anything sneaky early on. Now, as we've seen in previous games here from Classic throughout this week, he's done a lot of very aggressive strategies. He has builds that are engineered to completely outmaneuver his opponent. So Rogue is going to have to navigate this game very carefully if he's going to bring it to his strongest point, which is the late game.
Well, Rogue last year won 3 major tournaments: IEM Shanghai, GSL Super Tournament 2, and of course, BlizzCon, the WCS Global Finals. And the way that he navigated those tournaments, Tasteless, is as you are saying. He was so careful, so meticulous at figuring out what his opponents were up to.
He barely managed to get his way into BlizzCon and then tore through every opponent that stood in his way. A Classic so eager to prove himself with this new dominant style of Protoss. It's not SOS here. It's not Hero. It's not the players we are used to casting while we're back in South Korea. Here, Classic, just with a very altered approach to the game, he could easily dismantle Rogue. We're still waiting to see what exactly the builds are now that the core is done, and it will be a Stargate opening. So far, a fairly orthodox fork.
You are certainly right about that, but he makes it right in the wall, which is a bit interesting and a bit of a tell for Rogue. He sees immediately the second the Stargate starts that it is on the way, so he can prepare for it without issue. Now, the fact that the Stargate is in the wall probably tells Rogue that Classic wants to take his next expansion very, very quickly.
When the Stargate comes out, he can either make Phoenixes or Oracles. These are going to be important to harass, but he also needs to make sure and use them to scout. He needs to monitor how many drones versus attacking units Rogue's going to be making.
Now, this player is so quick from Rogue. I'm very interested in this play. Classic popping up, seeing that the third base is on the way, but he could be caught off guard by just how quickly the layers started. Rogue might be doing a very aggressive play to try to counter what is likely to be a play from Classic, where he is trying to be greedy.
That's right. Even though Rogue has incredible late-game abilities, he oftentimes will mix it up with a very specific style of rush, coming in there and trying to shut down Classic before he can do those great builds, and we're seeing exactly what that is right now.
That's right. We just saw that he canceled the third base after Classic saw it, so Classic sees that, he thinks it's a normal game. Oh, there is nothing further than a normal game from what we're seeing here. With that Nidus on the way, with additional Queens on the way, with a Roach Warren on the way, Rogue will be going all in.
We're going to have to see where exactly the Nidus Worm is going to come up. We've already seen Classic have some, rather Rogue have some success in this tournament with a strategy like this. The Overseer is coming up now. Many times before, we've seen Rogue actually do this right in front of the Nexus. It seems to be engineered that once the units get out, the Nexus is almost impossible to hold. We now have Rogue loading up the Nidus network, and we're going to see where exactly he's going to set this up. It might be right by the Robo Bay and the Nexus.
Yep, he is making it right there. He's going to want to target down that robotics immediately. The Immortal, one of the main units at trying to stop this. You notice Classic making tons of buildings. He's going to wall off everything, throw down shield batteries, but they aren't going to finish until this Nidus is open.
The Nidus is now spilling out so many units. The Robo completely surrounded. If the Immortal does come out, it will surely be gunned down. Probes being pulled to try to assist in defending the base.
Well, the first Immortal does fall. The Robo gets unpowered. Another pylon finishes the probes. Out fighting. A Phoenix comes in, picks up a Queen. In comes the Oracle as well.
Transfuse is going down. The Oracle still with some remaining energy. We see more and more Roaches and Queens spilling out. If Classic is unable to hold this location, this game will end and it will be a victory here for Rogue.
Well, it's looking like it might be. Rogue dealing so much damage. 17 probes already falling, going after the army of Classic. He barely has anything left but frantically microing these Stalkers.
A few Stalkers in the back, but really nowhere to try to kite them. If he can get this pylon and possibly take it out, this will be an insta-win for Rogue.
Oh, he's trying right now to pick off absolutely everything. These pylons being picked off one by one. More units still coming through that Nidus for Rogue. Just so much damage being put on top of these Stalkers, but Classic is not giving up yet.
Classic trying to hang on right now. Ling's in the main. 28 probes already down. Classic still limping by. These Stalkers are all he has left to try to hang on, and Rogue is not slowing down with sending more units directly to this natural expansion.
It's looking almost hopeless here, and GG is called. Rogue takes a quick game number 1.
Really awesome play by Rogue. Keep in mind, that's not a strategy he has to use again, but this denies Classic really getting any intel as we go into game 2 and 3. Classic, we never got to see his full strategy. With a rush like that, Rogue shuts down game number 1 handedly.
This is something we've seen from Rogue throughout IEM Katowice. He's been throwing down a lot of Niduses, especially on that map. He's trying to get aggressive against greedy Protoss play. This Protoss play where you're trying to tech and you're trying to expand at the same time. Here, he punishes Classic. But believe me, Tasteless, Classic is going to get ready to punish him right back.